Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'll wait till some more people come in. I just want to bring chapter 2 to you in Walk with Ease program. And yesterday I came up with a motto: stick with it. Stick with it for 6 weeks. Stick with it. And so we're talking about the Walk with Ease program. And I told you that I had to come and I have to do chapter 2, then I have to do chapter 3, because as the book says, that I'm covering to help people live a more excellent way to get back in shape, for the ones that were interested and the ones that may be interested in getting back in shape before the holidays come, to participate in within some easy basic activity, which is walking. Does not cost you anything, and also it can help you manage your weight during the holidays and meet your goals, and you can get ahead of people that usually will make New Year's resolutions when the new year comes. So we are talking about in chapter 2, know the basic facts about arthritis and exercise, because there's a lot of people that do have arthritis. And so there's more than 50 million Americans that have been diagnosed with arthritis. And nearly 1 in 10 say arthritis limits their daily activities. So 1 in 5 people in the United States is affected by arthritis. And almost 2/3 of these people are younger than age 65. Now, some people used to think that only older people are affected with arthritis, but there's a lot of younger people under the age of 65 that are affected by arthritis. Like, you may break your arm, you may break your leg or your toe, or you may have an injury to a body part, and and you can go to therapy, you can get treatment for it, and arthritis can set in later on. And so and especially when it gets cold, it can happen. I have some friends and they have been through some things, and if you have a job where it's repetitive motion or repetition in a job, that can cause some problems, and you can get bursitis in your shoulder, but also it could be arthritis if it hasn't been diagnosed properly. And so therefore it is important to understand that there are people that have arthritis and they are under the age of 65. So let's talk about a little what arthritis is. Arthritis literally means inflammation of the joints. Inflammation of the joints. But that's a little misleading, right? That's a little misleading. Not all forms of arthritis involve inflammation. Not all forms. Arthritis is a term used for more than 100 medical conditions. And that's really true. They can tell you have arthritis and you're like, how do I have arthritis? Especially if you're having problems with an injury that you felt was just going to go away and it was a minor injury. And they can come up and diagnose you these days and say it's arthritis or it's a form of arthritis. Now, in this book that we're talking about, we're going to focus on 3 of the more common ones: osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and then fibromyalgia. And there's a lot of women that suffer with fibromyalgia and may not even know it. And you can even have hair loss with fibromyalgia. So in general, arthritis, so depending on which condition, I'm getting ahead of myself, depending on which condition, you have muscle, connective tissues, bones, or other body organs may be affected. In general, arthritis and related conditions cause pain in and around joints and make it hard to move. Now, in this chapter, you're going to learn about arthritis basics, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and fibromyalgia, exercise and arthritis, and what kinds of exercise to do and how much, and then exercise do's and don'ts. Additional questions about exercise and modifications, and then you can do this activity. And at the end, you can do a self-check, review your progress, and we'll go over that as well. Now, remember that if you want a copy of what we've been talking about since yesterday, when I first brought this, introduced this, that I will be covering this, is 6 chapters in this book. I will be happy to send you the form if you want a copy of it, and you can print it out to check your progress. And I will always show you the forms that you may want to use to keep track of your progress, and even a form like you can keep a diary. Now, that's something that you can keep a diary of. You can also use a pedometer as you're out here on this Stick With It 6-week program of Walk with Ease. And don't forget, while you're, tuning in or listening on the replay, don't forget to hit the like button. Now, 1 in 5 people in the United States is affected by arthritis. Now, specific causes are known for some forms of arthritis, but not for most. Most, they don't know. They don't know how you develop it, or at least why you get it. They don't know. And so, because there are so many types of arthritis, there are likely to be many different causes. So, and see, that's the thing. Everybody's body is different. So, if you have been diagnosed with arthritis, doesn't necessarily mean that someone else that's diagnosed with it, or their reason may be the same as yours. So we have to keep that in mind, that everyone is different. So what your arthritis may be and how it affects you can very well be differently on how it affects someone else. Okay, so scientists currently are studying the roles of 3 major factors. Now, there are 3 major factors for arthritis. Number 1, how you live. How do you live? Number 2, what happens to your body during your life? What happens? And genetic factors you inherit from your parents. It could be genetic. And then the thing about what happens to your body during your life, you have to reflect back over your body and all the trauma that you might have experienced with your body. And if you are a exercise guru, or someone that's been in the gym lifting weights for most of your life, decades in the gym, or you are a runner, or an avid walker. However, even walking is supposed to be less traumatic on your body, but you can still develop things that can cause arthritis. And if you are a person that has a manual labor physical job, where you are lifting things on a regular basis, excuse me, or you are a cement mason, and you're going around and around, or you are someone that has to shovel and dig, you work in construction. There's a lot of things that can affect you over a decade of your lifetime with your body. So they have identified 2 factors that can increase your chances for developing arthritis that you can do something about. One of them is overweight and injury to your joints. Now, being overweight, you can lose the weight. It takes time. No one's saying it's easy. So if you are interested in losing weight, walking is the best place to start if you're interested in that. And then we have to be careful how we exercise, and do we stretch before we start our exercise, because those are things that can help prevent injuries to your joints. And then we also have to be careful about overextending ourselves. And if something is bothering us, don't participate or don't overdo it, and take a break from exercise. When you feel overwhelmed and you've been exercising for 2-3 days, and now you're saying, you know what, I'm really tired. That's not about being weak. It's not about giving up. It's just making sure that your body is okay and can recover from the strenuous exercise that you're doing. And don't forget to soak your feet. Don't forget to massage your feet. And if you have a significant other or children that are interested, Mom, I'll massage your feet, or your spouse or partner to massage your feet, or go and get body massages. Or if you have a partner that know how to give good body massages, those are good things to help you when it comes down to managing and taking care and preserving the temple that God has allowed us to temporarily dwell in. Okay. So people who are overweight are more likely to have some form of arthritis, including gout. And now most of you understand and know what gout is, especially men. And so let's look up gout. If you don't know, we're going to look it up. And I want to look this up so that, and I'm going to Google it. I am going to Google gout. So I want you to know that that is how I'm going to give you the definition of what this is. It is a form of arthritis characterized by severe pain, redness, and tenderness in the joints. Pain and inflammation occur when too much uric acid crystallizes and deposits in the joints. And it is treatable by medical professionals, licensed medical professionals. It requires a medical diagnosis, and lab tests or imaging is often required. And now there are some signs and symptoms of that, and you can Google that to get that information, because I am not a licensed professional. So I don't want to, steer anyone in the wrong way or mislead anyone. But I am trying to give you information. And again, let me show this book that I'm bringing to you. It's called Walk with Ease. And we are actually in chapter 2 of this, and we're talking about the basic information of arthritis and exercise. Okay. So I just want to remind you all of that. Now, okay. So people who are overweight are more likely to have some form of arthritis, including gout, especially men. Now, I've met men and I've known men that have gout or have developed gout. And they tell me, the ones that I have talked with, I've spoken with, that it is very painful. And just like a week ago, someone was sharing with me that their husband had gout and how painful that it was. And then an osteoarthritis, osteoarthritis, if I've mispronounced it, osteoarthritis of the knees and possibly hips. How much of a factor is being overweight? For some forms, apparently it makes quite a difference. For example, research shows that overweight middle-aged women who lose 11 pounds or more over 10 years cut their risk for developing knee arthritis in half. Now, you know that some people, when they are overweight, that they will develop knee pain and sometimes even have to resort to surgery. And some people will not get the surgery because they need to lose weight. Some people know they need to lose weight, and some people are told by their licensed medical professional that they have to lose weight. And until they do, surgery is not going to help you if you are overweight, because you're still putting the same weight on a knee or knees that you are going to try to have repaired. So you have to try to lose weight prior to the surgery, so that when you have the surgery, you won't be putting the same heavy weight on the knees that you had surgery with. So that's very important. Okay. And then an injury that occurs to a joint or connective tissue increases the risk for some types of musculoskeletal conditions, such as tendonitis. Now, I've had tendonitis before in my elbow. When I worked years, many decades ago at Home Depot, I had, tendonitis. I developed it in my elbow, and it was very painful. And I went to therapy for it, and I was given exercises to do, and it went away. Now, I have a friend that has bursitis, and she was a pipe fitter for many years in a union, And so what happened with that is they actually reassigned her. She was able to go to school. They paid for everything for her to get her undergrad degree in psychology, which that's what she chose to do. And we've been friends for many, 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 many decades and decades. We've been friends. And then there's people that have carpal tunnel. And I've actually worked with people that had a workers' comp claim that had developed carpal tunnel way before I became their, leader. And so they've had carpal tunnel. So you have to be very careful about carpal tunnel. And when you're typing, and if you are a good typist and you type so many words a minute, you can develop carpal tunnel. That's why it's important to do wrist exercises and hand exercises and stretches so that you don't develop carpal tunnel, because it's called carpal tunnel syndrome. And then there's the osteoarthritis of the knees and spine. And if you don't do like back exercises and stretches, there are things that you could do. My younger brother taught me this one exercise many, many years ago. It looks like you're swimming and you're laying on your stomach and you're flapping, kind of like flapping your arms and your feet. It's supposed to strengthen your back, lower back, but it helps because if you're a person that lifts weights, you want to make sure you protect yourself. And you've seen people wear the belts and things like that to protect your weight. And you also want to make sure that you don't lift weights that are just over too heavy for you. Don't let people put batteries in your back when you get to the gym. Don't get caught up in competition and be competitive against someone else, because you can literally hurt yourself trying to prove that you're something. Look, I remember going to the gym decades ago from me and a good friend, and I'm a runner, right? You all, I've said that many times. So, and so I would run on the treadmill at the gym, right? And I always ran 3 miles. That's all I did. I wasn't trying to prove anything because it was in the beginning stages of me trying to train myself to run, distance. Because to some people, 3 miles is not distance, but I ran sprints all my life: 50-yard dash, 100-yard, 220 relay, 220. Excuse me, the 220, the 440 relay, which is really the 400 meters. They've changed it now. 5 and 10 hurdles, 100-yard dash, all that stuff, so when it was time for me to start running, I wanted to be able to at least run a few miles on the treadmill. So we would go to the gym. My friend wasn't a runner, but I was. So I remember this young lady, she would get on the treadmill next to me, and she was with her friends. It was another young lady and a man, and they would come to the gym, right? And she would run as fast as she could next to me while I'm just striving along. She would run as fast as she could. And at the end of my run, that's when I always gave it that kick. Always. And I was always excited when I got done with my run. That's one thing. Be excited about your accomplishments. Every day, be excited about whatever you can do. If you can get out there and walk for 10 minutes and you're just starting out, be excited about your accomplishment. Be motivated. And don't let anyone tell you that you're not doing good enough, because you know what your body can do. So getting back quickly to the story, her the male partner told her that was with them, they were friends. And I don't mean partners and boyfriend, but just whoever they were come to the gym, come to the gym together, told her, why are you running so fast? What are you trying to prove? So she was just trying to prove that she could run so fast. And I've seen women do that when I'm out exercising and I'm running on there's a sports complex a couple of miles from my house, and I would go and run around this trail, and it tells you how many laps is a mile or 2 miles. And I'd see this lady, and she could run. Don't get me wrong, that lady can run sprints. But what's the purpose of doing that? And you only do it once or twice a year. That's not healthy for your heart anyway, to put that kind of stress on your heart. If you exercise in moderation is the important thing. It is the key. Exercising in moderation. So anyway, these type of injuries can be caused by accidental damage or repetitive overuse, including sports-related injuries, accidents, or job-related repetitive movements, such as repetitive deep knee bending, lifting, reaching, or typing. And that was one of the things I said, typing. And when we talk about repetitive deep knee bending, you could be doing squats. And when you do squats like that and you're lifting weights, it can be hard on your knees over a period of time because it's repetitive. And then the repetitive movements on job related. That's why I was saying your job. And then this repetitive overuse of your body, your certain muscles. And then sports related. And this is so important for parents that have children playing sports. Children playing sports. Be careful of allowing your child to play injured. Don't allow your children to play injured. You want to remember that your children have to grow up. Your children's lives need to be preserved. They may be good at what they do, but if you allow your children to play injured, their sports career could be over, especially if they are really good at what they do. Their sports career could be over. My youngest brother was a running back, amazing running back from a small 4 years old. We had to go and to practice, and we watched his games, and he was amazing all the way. Good morning, Heal the Land. Truly appreciate seeing you here. And he was in a senior, had all type of scouts looking at him. And the coach kept playing my brother. And this was decades ago. And our older brothers, remember I have 7 brothers, and he told the coach, stop playing him. He busted his knee and had to have pins. Now, he could never play football again, but he can run track. And we all came from a family of runners. My mother used to run with us when we were children. We would create relays in the neighborhood with branches and make fake batons. And we thought we had it going on. We had so much fun. But you want to make sure that your children are not playing injured, if they are injured, even if they're the star of the team, they're the quarterback, the running back, do not allow your children or grandchildren or godchildren or nieces, nephews to play injured. Preserve their bodies, because if they're going to be a superstar and that's their goal, is to be in the league, a professional league or whatever, or make it to college and play college ball or whatever the situation is, whether it's football, basketball, soccer, whatever they're playing that is a strenuous sport where they can get injured, you want to make sure that they are not playing injured. That is so important, because I go and watch little league games. I go to the high school and watch games, and we just want to make sure that our children are okay, because they are our future. So you want to be careful with that. Now, the basic facts about osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and fibromyalgia. So osteoarthritis is the most common form of arthritis, and it now affects more than 27 million people in the United States. This number is expected to grow significantly as the baby boomer population ages. And you see, there's a lot of baby boomers. And if you're in the population of baby boomers, you see people are living to 100 and some years of age now. They are not passing away. As when we were children, you would see people that were 50 in their 50s, and we thought that was old, and they were passing away. Well, because of medical technology and advancements and medications and things like that, you do see people living longer and preserving their lives. And then there's a lot of information out here how we can live better and live a more healthy life in the temporary temple that God has given us. And no matter how temporary it is, it could be 100 years from now. When God calls us home, he does. But in the meantime, we are dwelling in a temporary temple that God has given us. And therefore, we need to take care of the temple and be grateful and thankful that God is with us, right? And so also sometimes known as degenerative joint disease. And you've heard that, most of you, degenerative joint disease. There are two types of osteoarthritis, primary and secondary. Primary osteoarthritis involves gradual degenerative wear and tear of joint cartilage. And I understand that if you tear your cartilage, it is very painful. And working in the medical field, I've seen so many people come in where they've torn their cartilage, and that's why they do the MRIs and CT scans, these invasive scans, because they want to make sure there's no cartilage that's been torn, especially when you keep having pain in between your joints and nothing that they're doing that helps it. And then they have to do these invasive scans to see what's really going on. And then there are no known cause for this type. Now, secondary osteoarthritis involves degenerative changes of the cartilage related to injury, genetics, obesity, and other causes. Okay. So osteoarthritis commonly affects the knees, the hips, fingers, neck, and lower back. Now, most of us, we use our fingers quite a bit, and a lot of us know how to type. And so we use our fingers quite a bit, our hips, because we're walking, we're stretching, we're doing things, and and our knees for bending. If you have to lift things, you have to know how to lift properly. Our neck, and we can even, that's why it's good to do neck exercises and stretching your neck out, doing things to get that neck, the tension out of your neck, and being careful when you do it, because you don't want to pull something as you're stretching. And to also stretch out your lower back, make sure when you're standing up, stretching out your lower back and being careful. Don't move too fast when you're doing exercises, because you can certainly pull a muscle, and you don't want to do that, and you want to be careful about your exercising. Now, and your stretching, careful with the exercising as well, but stretching as well. So osteoarthritis, you're very welcome. Thank you, Hilda Land. I truly appreciate you stopping by and being here. And even if you have to leave sooner, it's okay, because I'm going to finish chapter 2, and my videos will stay up, because we got to get into chapter 3. Because, if you were on yesterday, or you got to see the video yesterday, it's called, the motto is stick with it for 6 weeks, walk with ease. And so this is a book that, Walk with Ease, a guide to help people, and gives us some basic information and even things that we may not know. So that's what I'm covering in the book. And what I've said is, if you want to email me, the forms, I do have some of the forms and things that I can send a print screen or email you a copy of the form, so that if you want to print it out at your home. But I think that this is a great idea, because we're going into the holidays, and a lot of people want to get into an exercise program to maintain their weight, because, hey, I like to eat too. Maintain your weight, things like that, or to lose weight. And we can get ahead of the game before the New Year's resolution, because a lot of people make resolutions in the new year and they don't keep them. So if you just decide to stick with it for 6 weeks, you may find that if you can stick with it for 6 weeks, and even if you miss a week, you get back on track, be motivated, be excited that you can stick with it and realize, you know what, I enjoy walking. I love it, and you can get into that, that attitude, because it takes a good attitude to stick with any type of exercise program. And if you're just getting back into it, don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. Don't let anyone discourage you. Be encouraged, and be around people that are going to lift you up and encourage you and tell you you can do it. You might have fell off one day, but get back up and pick yourself back up. So, joint discomfort varies from person to person and can range from mild to severe. Most people with osteoarthritis will not experience severe disability or joint deformity, and can manage it by using a variety of strategies, including medicines and pain management techniques. And recent advances in joint replacement have helped people with severe osteoarthritis of the hips or the knees. Now, I do have 2 friends that had hip replacement, joint replacements, and one of them from a car accident where a drunk driver hit her, and she suffered for a long time. And her and I are the same age. We're best friends. I mean, we've been friends for over decades, when her children was young, and then when I got pregnant with my child, and they're grown and gone on with their lives. And so they, and another friend of mine, they have had hip replacements. One of them, like I said, was from a drunk driver, and he had like 4 or 5 DUIs, and he's still out on the road driving. To this, he was, but he since, from we understand, passed away. And then you have yes, you do. Yep, you have to. Yes, you do. You do. And you know what? The thing is, you have to be around people that are going to encourage you. And if they don't, stay away from those people, because you know what? Um, I found that negative people can get in your spirit and bring you down, that toxicity. And you don't need that. If you really are trying to change your life for the better, and say you have people around you, and just say that, you've been around people and everybody may be overweight. And this is nothing against overweight people. I'm just saying, say you've been around people, because even when I started to lose weight, I'm telling you, I was really small. Then I gained weight over the years, but I lost weight because but no one knew that I was the size I was, because I always worked out. But I think my situation was, when you don't, you got to think of, like you said, your mindset. You got to have a change of mind and a change of heart. And stress can keep weight on you too. Believe it or not, stress can keep you, when you're dealing with stress and anxiety and things like that. So you have to have a change of heart and mindset to be able to lose weight. You can exercise forever and never lose weight, because you need to make some changes. And once you realize that you need to make changes, that weight can start coming off of you, and people around you can start to experience envy, not because they don't want to see you. There are some people that don't want to see you, but happy, but not because they don't want to see you happy. I have to throw that in, because I know people go, that's, but they don't understand, and they start to become insecure in who you are, because they think you're going to change, or you're not going to be on the same level that you are all on when you are a certain size. And that happens a lot with women. And that's very important, to keep a good mindset. And you can encourage your female friends, hey, I'm embarking on this new exercise journey. Would you like to join me? And if they have reservations, talk to them about that. Right. And that happens to a lot of us as women too. We become, right. That happens a lot. Emotional eaters. And when we get upset about something, or things are not going well, or we have anxiety, we're worrying about something, we will, start eating, and we may not even be hungry. And I think one of the things to do that might help, if you're able to get out and walk, that might help, is once you start to feel like you're gonna eat, drink some water. Drink some water, drink water, and just say, you know what, I'm getting up and going for a walk. I got to get up out of here. Or ride your bike if you have a bike. You can ride your bike. Ride your bike. I mean, I used to rollerblade a lot, but because because where I like to rollerblade, the streets are like uneven, and I tried to stop because I was afraid that, because a lot of times, these sides, when you have side streets, the cars, they don't stop at the stop signs. They just roll through them, or they'll pass the stop sign and then realize they need to stop. And I was so afraid of getting hit by a car that I tried to stop when I was rollerblading, and I tried to stop. My son was a teenager, and I tried to stop, and I ran into a wall to break the fall, right? And I hit my hand and I hurt my hand. But thank God, and from the gravity, force pushed me back. And it was a couple on the other side of the street. These were a main road, right? And they saw it, and they was like, oh, she got jacked like that. Good morning, one pap. But they had a little baby. And then when they saw that I got up, they was like, we're glad you're okay. And I was like, thank you. I'm glad I'm okay. And I told my son about it. My mom and my son was like, Mom, you're always taking risks. What if you had got hurt and got hit by a car? And I was like, I know. So I had to kind of tone it down, because my son was starting to worry about me, because I'm just one of them people that like to get out, and I'll rollerblade, I'll ride my bike, I'll go running. It's just a lot of stuff that I do. Yes, take a break for 10 minutes. Yep. Right. And you know what? Even if if you're at work, good morning, one pap. Good morning. And even if you're at work, I was saying this, making suggestions yesterday, is to walk. If you have a 10-minute break and you're in an area where you can walk, take your 10-minute, 15 or 20-minute break, go walk. And I know sometimes people will say, well, I need to eat on my lunch hour. You know what I used to do? I used to go do my walk, and then I would come back and I would eat. And that's how, I would do it. But I would eat light, like a salad or something that was healthy, but that would maintain me to my next break. And then when it was time to go home for dinner, and a lot of times, people are rushing to get home to make dinner. And sometimes people get home late at night and they eat dinner late, and that food sits on your stomach. So it's important, how you can manage your lifestyle and what you can do better to help your temple and for you to feel good about yourself. And so most people with osteoarthritis will not experience severe disability or joint deformity, and can manage it by using a variety of strategies, including medicines and pain management techniques. And then there was the recent advances in joint replacement have helped people. And then what about exercise for people with osteoarthritis? Years ago, they were advised to stay off affected joints, but not anymore. And that was true. Back then, people stayed off their joints. They was told to stay off of them. And basically, that just really gave people a sedentary lifestyle, because that's what they were told years ago. But now, treatment now emphasizes the importance of exercise, and research supports it. Research supports exercise. So when people say, well, I can't, no, research, you do your research. Research supports exercise. And you hear that a lot. When you're feeling down, when you're feeling depressed, when you have anxiety, if you take a walk, a lot of times you feel much better after you come back from that walk, or that power walk, or that jog, or that run. You feel a lot better, and it gives you an opportunity to clear your head and get away from the chaos and whatever that you might have been going through. It gives you an opportunity to get away from that and to clear your mind. Exercise definitely helps a lot. And we know that cartilage needs joint motion to stay healthy. Your cartilage needs to be good. And so, because the motion of exercise both delivers nourishment to the joints and gets rid of waste products. Now, joint cartilage usually deteriorates if a joint is not moved regularly. And that's why it's not good to have a sedentary lifestyle, because you do need to move your joints regularly. And that's why it's good to stretch, to get up and stretch, as I was saying, things like that. Get up and move around and stretch. It is so important to stretch. And you may not be as limber as someone else, or limber as you used to be, but the more that you stretch and do it, you will get better at it. Like, most of us probably could do splits. when we were younger. And the Chinese split was like, if you could do the Chinese split, you was the bomb. You know what I'm saying? And cartwheels and backhand flips and split, all that was good. We may not be able to do those things anymore. But however, stretching, getting up and walk, and being thankful for every day that God wakes you up and opens up your eyes. If you can get out of that bed, even if you have pain, put your feet on the floor, God is still working it out for you. The blood is still running warm in your veins, and that is good news. Now, if you have osteoarthritis, here are some general exercise do's and don'ts that we're going to talk about in this chapter. And then additionally, keep the following points in mind. Now, there are some key points about osteoarthritis. Joints. All joints, especially those with osteoarthritis, need to be moved regularly and taken through their full range of motion several times a day to maintain flexibility and take care of cartilage. Observe safety precautions, but avoid babying joints with osteoarthritis. And you know what that means, babying someone. Don't allow them to grow. Don't allow them to be touched. I'm not going to stretch because I'm a baby. You can't do that. You have to, grow up, as we say, and because we're adults, and do, excuse me, the suggestions or exercises to help you. Now, overloaded joints. If you have osteoarthritis in your hips or knees, avoid types of exercise that overload these joints, such as climbing or very fast walking. And another thing too is jumping jacks might be hard on your joints. Jumping jacks, and a lot of people, and I want to show this because some people, now forgive me, I just have on some house clothes, but some people, when I led the walk for our breast cancer walk, one of the things is that everybody can't do jumping jacks. Now, me, I'm a person that can do jumping jacks. Okay, I can do them, but everybody can't. So you might be able to just do this. And some people couldn't even do that. So they just raised their arms, and did this. But one of the things about jumping jacks is getting your arms up over your head if you can still do those. So there's a lot of good exercises and modifications. And so if you're going to teach an exercise class or be a leader, as I was talking about yesterday, of your walk program, of the Walk with Ease program, and the motto is stick with it, right? For 6 weeks. You want to make sure that you incorporate modified exercises for people that cannot do it. And that's about compassion, empathy, and respect for people that cannot do the full exercise. So that's totally okay. And so also after your exercise, try to rest off your feet for as much as an hour if you can, to give cartilage time to decompress. Okay. Now, when I work in my yard, I have a big yard. So I spent a few hours doing yard work. And that's strenuous. That's physical, manual labor, pulling tumbleweeds. Because it had been so hot here, I wasn't doing it. I let it go. And because it was so hot, I couldn't. The sun would be up at 5 and 6. It was just too hot. 100 degree temperature is just not a good idea. 110. So I had to wait till it started cooling down. So I got the work done. I actually did. And I'll tell you, I did it before church on Sunday. I came back after church on Sunday. I did it yesterday morning, and I started Saturday. Okay. And I got it done. So that's a good thing. So I realized that I took a break, and I didn't take my walk on Sunday. I took a day of rest, after that, church and then that. But I was back at it yesterday, making sure that I got back on my walk, because usually I'm pretty much out here every day doing my run or my power walk, and I actually love it, and it's beautiful, and I can clear my head, and I always feel so rejuvenated after I'm done. So you do want to take some time, if you've been on your feet a while, or if you work in a warehouse, or you work where you're constantly walking around, moving around, you're on your feet, it's good to rest your feet. And again, if you have like one of those foot massagers that you put water in, you put water in, that can help, with, exercising, what they call it, massaging your feet. Yeah, it's one of these things that, if you probably know what it is. Let me see if I have one. Excuse me for a second. You know what? I do have it, but it's not here in my closet on the shelf like I thought I was going to show it to you. But I think most of you know what it is, where you put water in it, put your feet in there, and some of them have. If you buy one that's a little more expensive, it has a button where it can, bubble up and massage your feet. So those are good, and just making sure you take care of your feet, because your feet, if your feet hurt, have you heard this before? If your feet hurt, then everything hurts. It can affect everything on your body. Okay. Now, precautions for artificial joints. If you have artificial joints and you've had a joint replacement, consult your healthcare practitioner before attempting any stretching or strengthening exercises for that part of your body, because you don't want to move something that, say you have a pin in something or whatever, they've metal or something they've put in you. You want to consult your medical professional, licensed professional, not somebody that's just saying something. You want to consult somebody that because your friends can say, yeah, this is that, but you want to back it up by contacting your practitioner, because everybody's body is different, and asking so they can say, yes, these are the exercises you could do or don't. And plus, they should teach you that in physical therapy, because once you have had usually a knee or hip replacement, most people have to go through therapy. And so, or they have a therapist come into your home if that's something that can happen for you under your, benefit plan of your medical coverage or health insurance. So it's important to talk to them about that, because you don't want to do an exercise that will, counteract what the surgery or joint replacement that you've had done. And then when engaging in aerobic exercise like walking, remember that certain precautions apply to artificial hips and knees, and you need to respect these if you want the joint to last as long as possible. Now, I participate in aerobics, and I love it, but I want to say this: when you're in an aerobic class, you may not be able to do everything that the instructor is up there doing. And you can also talk to the instructor before class or after and say, look, I'm here to do all the exercise that I can, but because I've had a knee or hip replacement, I can't step up on a step, or I can't do all of those things, but I'm willing to do certain things. And they can even recommend less moderate, class for you, one that doesn't do a lot of jumping around, but it's still a good class where you could get exercise, lose weight or maintain your weight, build muscle, things like that. So you want to make sure that you're in the right aerobic class, but you also want to make sure that no one is putting pressure on you to do those exercises that you can't or should not be doing because of your situation, and so that's so important. Right. And I have some friends. I do have another friend that she has problems. And so she was doing the water aerobics, and she said she found that helped. As a matter of fact, a couple of my friends do water aerobics before the pandemic, and they said that they love it. And you know what? Heal the Land, it's a different type of exercise, right? I've had some of my friends tell me it's a different type of exercise. I mean, like, people might think that being in the water is easier, but when you're doing those exercises in the water, it's good. You're in the water, but you do feel it. It's a different type of exercise, and your body feels it differently. That's very true. And I have a few friends that actually that do that. Yeah, less stress on the joints. That's true. But it feels different, huh? It's like, my friend, I can't really explain it, but they tell me that it's less stress on the joints, but it's no joke over a period of time, because you have what? The gravity of the water, and you're trying to do the exercises in the water. And so now there's the moderate activity. Just as too much rest is bad for joints with osteoarthritis, so is too much activity. So if your joints, when having too much rest, sometimes when you feel like, oh my God, I've gotten so over rested, and you feel kind of you start feeling kind of dragged down. You don't want to, like they said right here, too much rest for the joints is not good, it's bad. And then if joints are continually compressed, as the hips and knees are by long periods of standing, the cartilage can't expand and soak up nutrients and fluid. Therefore, it is important to avoid long periods of compression and to alternate activity and rest throughout the day. So that's very important to do. And then you want to have good shoes and posture. Make sure that when you're exercising, and if you have to look in the mirror, and look at yourself while you're exercising, so that you can have good posture while you're while you're exercising. That's why they have a mirror in the aerobics class. That way you can see how you're doing the exercises. So always practice good posture and wear supportive shoes. That's very important, to have supportive shoes. And both of these will help protect the cartilage and reduce joint pain. Now, when we get into chapter 3, and then chapter 5 is going to be coming after 4, it provides additional information about shoes and good posture. So we're going to be covering everything we need to cover, like I said, detailed in this book, so that we can stick with it for 6 weeks. Okay. And once you stick with it, I want to know how you've done. If you decide to get on a new walking program, I love to see how you've done with the stick with it. Okay. Now, the strengthening exercises, be sure to do strengthening exercises. Toned muscles with good endurance help support joints. Key muscle groups to strengthen generally include the muscles that help support the hips, knees, and ankles. Okay. And we'll get to that, the recommendations, exercises in Appendix B, because there is an appendix back here that gives us recommendations in there. And we will talk about that at the end. Now, there's the aquatic exercise, which Heal the Land. Thank you so much for sharing that. They're talking about the aquatic exercise. Aquatic or water exercise can be very helpful along with a walking program when you have painful joints, because the buoyancy of the water helps support them, making it easier to move. Okay. And so then you have the body weight. It is extremely important for you to keep your body weight under control. And that's what we were saying. If you want to maintain your body weight, this is a good place to start. And especially, as I said, going into the holidays, a lot of us like to eat, and we don't want to have to sit back and nitpick, or can't eat that, I can't eat that. So if you are on a regular exercise, or you get started now, because it is October, what's today? October 3rd? October 3rd. Let me make sure, because some days I'll be like, what day is it? So let me make sure I know what day it is myself. Forgive me, people. October 4th. I'm sorry. It's October 4th today. Okay. So October 4th today. So October 4th, and then you have Thanksgiving. When is Thanksgiving? I know. I was like, what? Okay. So Thanksgiving is November 24th, right? That's what's on my calendar. Let me make sure. Yes, Thanksgiving, November 24th, right? Okay. So if you start now, or this weekend, and you already and you start 6 weeks. So let's see here. 3, 4. If you start now, do you know you'll be ahead of the game and still have like a week and a half or something, maybe, and I'm just estimating, you will be able to be ahead of the game in your Stick With It program. Okay. Stick with it. So, too much extra weight speeds up damage to weight-bearing joints, and even 10 or 20 extra pounds multiplies the force absorbed by your feet, knees, hips, and back. So not only when you're exercising, but also when you're just going about your daily activities. Okay. So that's why it's really important, to be aware of your body. And when you're lifting, when you're working, when you're moving around, be aware, and don't ignore signs. If you start feeling pain, like you could be at work and you could be in lift, can lift something and be like, wait a minute. Later on, you'd be like, wow, so don't ignore pains. Take a break away from that. Kind of go and stretch if you have to. And I know in some workplaces, if you are a person that usually sits down at a desk, like I had an office, but I tried to be up a lot. I walked around a lot, and I was out on the front end with my team, making sure things were running smoothly. Because I feel like you really can't you can supervise from your office, but but you want to be out there. You want to be out making sure things are run. Show your face, show your support. And that's being a good leader too, showing your support, showing your face, being there for them so they know you're there and you're not just locked up in your office. So there are some tips on that. And I've talked about leadership too. Pap joined in. I think it was in 2020 when I talked about leadership. And I really enjoyed that video. When we talked about leadership and being part of a team. So there's a lot of good things that that happens, and it's not just in this or that, but that leadership plays a part in how you lead your people and how you do things and how you take care of yourself as well, because too much stress in the workplace can harm you as well in management. A lot of times people feel stressed out in management when they're managing departments or work areas and things like that. And you have to still be able to take care of you. And don't let your team look at you crazy and think that you don't have a right to take care of you. You have a right to take care of you, whether you're a supervisor, manager, executive director, whatever your title is, business owner, you still have a right to take care of you. And don't let people tell you, we can't afford a vacation, but you can. But if you've worked hard and you are treating your people right, that you are supervising, managing, leading, it's time for your vacation, then take your vacation. I was a workaholic. And then I said, it's time for me to take my vacations. I don't care what they say. I've earned this. I have leave. I am going to take my vacations. And that is very important to do that. Okay. So rheumatoid arthritis. Now let's get into this, because there are people that have rheumatoid arthritis. It's a systemic autoimmune disease. That is one that affects all of the body, because the immune system, which is responsible for fighting infections, instead attacks the body's own tissues. Okay. This causes an inflammation of the lining of the joints, and it can affect internal organs. About 1.3 million people in the United States have rheumatoid arthritis, and it might have grown since then. And rheumatoid arthritis typically affects many different joints throughout the body, usually symmetrically. That is, the same joints on both sides of the body. Can you imagine having pain in both of your arms, or your joints, in your arm or your legs? I mean, that's really hard. Or both sides, your hips on each side, right and left, right, is in pain. That's, I have empathy for people that are dealing with that. Now, this is very different from osteoarthritis, which usually affects only a few specific joints and often is one-sided. So the joints that may be affected by rheumatoid arthritis include the hands, except for the joints closest to the fingernails, thumbs, wrists, elbows, shoulders, neck, and jaw. You could have rheumatoid arthritis in your jaw, as well as the hips, knees, ankles, and feet. Along with joint problems, rheumatoid arthritis can cause generalized fatigue, decreased appetite, and weight loss. That's not good when you're if you're losing weight because of a medical condition. It's not a good way to lose weight. And we've seen where, if you've had COVID, people have lost weight, can lose weight from COVID, and you can tell, and stuff like that. And excuse me, and you might be like, well, at least I was trying to lose it. And that may be good, but you want to make sure that, you're not losing weight regularly because of some type of medical condition that is going untreated, undiagnosed. Excuse me. Now, with rheumatoid arthritis, it is typical to see periods of inflammation called exacerbations or flares. Now, followed by periods when symptoms are less severe, which vary from individual to individual. Symptoms of a flare can include joint swelling, redness, warmth, pain, tenderness, fatigue, morning stiffness, muscle aches, and a feeling of being sick. Now, you can feel nauseated, that feeling of just feeling sick, and you don't know, you just feel sick, you feel blah, or morning stiffness, when you first get out of the bed, and you feel so stiff, and you might need to have help to get up, somebody to lift you up, or at least to help you get on your feet, until you get to moving around. And you've seen where some people just are tired all the time. I'm just so tired. And or maybe they have some joint swelling, you can see the joint swelling on them, or redness on the skin, where that joint is at. Those are things that they're talking about. And now there is no cure for rheumatoid arthritis, and the exact cause is actually unknown. Now, there are new drugs that are, excuse me, that are allowing people who have it to lead much healthier and more comfortable lives. So we can thank, the medical, the medical growth, where technology and more research has helped in this, and help, you know, people with these diagnoses, to be able to live more healthy. And this is what they're talking about, with the medical, how, it has transgressed, move, and all the research is being able to help. And I'm looking for that word, and I right now can't think of the word I'm looking for, so forgive me. But it just has helped, with medical advances. That's what I was looking for. I'm like, Lord, help me. But medical advances, so it helps people to lead a much healthier and comfortable life. So early diagnosis and treatment are even more important. So don't wait around. Like I said, if you're going through something and something is not getting better, and your health you think is starting to fall or decline or deteriorate, you want to make sure you go get treatment. Make a phone call to your provider, and tell them so that they can check you out, and they might need to refer you to a specialist that works with, rheumatoid arthritis and things like that. So getting the proper balance between exercise and rest, especially during flares, is also important. And when a joint is hot, painful, and swollen, resting helps reduce inflammation. So you want to take some time out to rest. Don't overdo it. You might want to hang out with friends and keep going, but you need to take some time, step back and say, you know what, I'm going to have to sit out this one. I wish you all the best. Take some pictures for me, do a video for me, but you know what, I need to take some time to rest. And then once I rest, I'm going to be probably almost brand new, and then I can get back with you all on the next event or something like that. You sometimes have to really take a look at ourselves and take care of ourselves, okay? And then, however, with too much rest, muscles lose its strength, which we know that the muscles lose strength if you're sitting around and I say a sedentary lifestyle. Ligaments and tendons become less strong and bones get softer. And you don't want your bones to be soft because they become brittle and they're easy to break. So research now recommends various forms of exercise for people with rheumatoid arthritis. And if you have rheumatoid arthritis, keep the following points in mind. So here are some key points about rheumatoid arthritis. Now, the flares. When you have flares, rest is needed. But remember that rest does not mean stopping all activities, okay? Be sure to continue doing very gentle movements. There should include gentle range of motion exercises to help maintain joint mobility. Your healthcare practitioner can guide you, and you can, turn your arm, things like that. Gentle range of motion movements. Just different things. To keep that going. And then aquatic exercise. Aquatic or water exercise can usually be continued during flares, since the buoyancy of the water helps support joints, making movement easier. And then there's the low impact exercise. During periods when your symptoms are under control, doing a low impact weight bearing activity like walking is important for your overall health. Discuss specific recommendations with your healthcare practitioner, including any restrictions or modifications for your particular condition. When you have flares, cut back as necessary, but gradually work back up to a full program again as soon as you can, okay? And flexibility and strengthening exercises. Additionally, when you aren't having a flare, you should do regular flexibility and strengthening exercises to maintain the range of motion and strength of supporting muscles necessary for everyday activities. It is important that your flexibility and strength exercise be carefully designed for your specific needs. knowing which muscles need to be strengthened and how to perform the exercises without stressing your joints is important. Do not engage in strengthening exercises before talking to your healthcare practitioner about appropriate recommendations. And I still say consult, make sure it's a licensed practitioner. Okay. And then posture and joint motion. Always pay careful attention to using your joints appropriately when exercising. Maintaining good posture and joint motion during exercise helps ease joint pain and avoid tightness. And you know how your parents say sit up straight in the chair, and your teachers used to teach you that, to sit up straight. Maintaining good posture, and even when you're walking, if you're able, some people have a hard time, walking up straight because of their condition, but standing up straight, holding your head up, and walking up straight. And if you haven't been doing that and you can do it, it may take some time to get in that habit of doing it. My mom used to get on me all the time when I was growing up. Stand up straight, hold your head up, and I used to want to hold my head down. And she told me, you're going to get stuck like that, and I think that had a lot to do with, you have to build some children. You need that, self-esteem build up, and so, to make sure they hold their head up. You are somebody, you are important. Hold your head up. You might walk into a wall with your head down. You don't want to do that. So hold your head up and walk upright and walk with confidence. Self-esteem and confidence doesn't mean you're arrogant, but it means that you are practicing good posture. Think of it like that. And when you teach your children that, to have good posture, walking upright, holding their head up, you are with confidence and things like that. And so maintaining mobility. You may not feel like exercising, especially during flares. Remember that movement is important for you to prevent loss of mobility, because you definitely don't want to lose mobility. Okay. And be sure your exercise is appropriate, and be sure to do it. Stick with it. Okay. And then let's talk about fibromyalgia. And then we're going to be, let me see, we still have a ways to go here. In this book, I'm going to have to just finish it. I hope you all can stick with me. And if not, you can, catch the replay on this, because I do need to get through chapter 2. And I mentioned it yesterday. It was kind of long. So I said, I got to get up and get this chapter on before I actually start my other part of the day. Because if you all know, I get up early, and I actually had bought a big bag of potatoes. I don't need that many potatoes, but I bought this bag because they were 2 for $5, right? And I need to make some potatoes for a dinner and things like that. And guess what? I didn't know that I could cut up the potatoes like French fries, wash them really good. I wash the potatoes really good and cut them up. And I cut them up in French fries. And I didn't know that I could freeze potatoes. Someone told me that. I said, I can. They told me yes. So, okay, I did that. And then my other potatoes, I'm just letting them sit. And then I'm just going to put them away, put them in a basket. And then that way, when I get ready to make mashed potatoes, they're already washed, and I can just boil them, because I don't do well with peeling potatoes. Some people have that potato peeler, and I can't find mine. I think I bought one, and I don't know what I did with it, but I have never I guess you can put it in your hand and, I don't know, hold it. I don't know how to use it. Maybe somebody can help me use this potato peeler. It's easier. But anyway, what I normally do with my potatoes, and I know I'm getting a little off track, is I boil them, and then I just let them cool and peel off, and it's easier for me to do it that way. But if you have another way, I'm open to learning and receiving that information from you. Okay, so fibromyalgia. Oh yeah, sweet potato. One pap, don't get me started. I love me some sweet potatoes with some brown sugar, butter, cinnamon, and nutmeg, and vanilla flavor. Do not get me started, one pap. And also candied yams. You know what? I don't even make them every Thanksgiving or Christmas, because I'm gonna tell you, that's something I love. I love me some sweet potatoes and yams. I mean, like, I know those are two different things, but man. Oh, you use red potatoes? I peel nothing. Oh, do you buy the little small red potatoes? I like those. And the ones that come in a little bag now, they're about $4 a bag, depending on which grocery store you go to. I like those because you don't have to peel anything. You're right here, the land. But it was, what? I bought them because they were 2 for $5. And I figure I'll be making potatoes over a couple of weeks. So that's why I did it. But normally I don't buy a lot of potatoes anymore in a bag. I usually just buy enough to where I'm going to cook one meal at a time or something like that. Oh, she grills them now. I'm gonna have to, you know what? I'm gonna have to try that. I am going to have to try some grilled sweet potatoes. So what does she do? Wash them and then does she just slice it like and then just oil it, maybe with some olive oil or something, just put it on the grill? That sounds good. That sounds good. Very good. I mean, like, you giving me some ideas over here, One Pap. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm gonna have to come to your house for dinner. You're gonna have to come to my house one day for dinner, okay? Because that sounds really good. That sounds real good. Taking a break, and you come here, and then I go there. That's taking a break, and we both can. you okay? Right. Okay. Okay. You know, Heal the Land. One of my good friends. We, like I told you, best friends. She can throw. Oh my God! When we were raising our children, right? And we lived in San Diego, excuse me, and she could always throw down on some potato salad. And I'm telling you, that was when I used to eat pork, and I'm telling you though, that potato salad was the bomb because she would fry some bacon and crumble it up in there. And it was the bomb. And I remember family members would be taking big scoops at a time. And when it was time for you to eat, because you might be preparing other dishes or helping out, I was always a person that, was helping it out. And when it was time for me to make my plate, it's like, what happened to the potato salad? I mean, like, you would be like, and they were like, oh, they got it on their plate. Well, how you taking 2 and 3 big scoops of potato salad and everybody else hasn't eaten? Man, that's some selfish stuff. That's some greedy people. And so she used to have to make a bowl and put it away for other people. She used to always get very annoyed when her family, and friends would take a whole bunch of potato salad. Because she to this day, actually, she has she'd be on Instagram a lot and she can throw down, she can cook. That is rude. And you be like, you be wanting to say more, that look, but you be like, that's messed up, and that is rude to do that. That's why some people, they actually serve. Don't ever let people serve themselves. Because even if you tell people to be, to stop, and to remember other people, a lot of people don't do that. That's why, like, if you have a church function or any type of event, you have to have servers. Don't let people serve their own food. Because if you have service, it really cuts down on the chaos, and it cuts down on people being gluttony. What's the word? Gluttony, being a glutton. It yep, see, exactly. The last pick, yes, that's what you have to do. Especially if you learn from past experiences, right? Okay. So fibromyalgia, and I think this is really good too that they're bringing up fibromyalgia because a lot of women suffer with fibromyalgia. So it's another common arthritis related condition. The name means pain in the muscles and fibrous connective tissues, the ligaments and tendons. Fibromyalgia affects about 2% of the US population. Fibromyalgia is not actually a joint condition, but a syndrome with a set of signs and symptoms, including moderate to severe fatigue or lack of energy, decreased endurance for exercise, sleep disturbances, headaches, widespread muscle aches, and tender joints in specific body locations. Now, I mentioned hair loss because I've had a friend that had fibro that was diagnosed with it, and she did lose her hair. She lost her hair, and they didn't know why, but she was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, but then alopecia, and that might have been the key to it. But at the time, they were saying that it was due to, fibromyalgia can make you lose your hair. Everybody have different symptoms, but she wind up being diagnosed with alopecia with the fibromyalgia. But it was at different times that they diagnosed the alopecia because they were saying that the hair loss was related to the fibromyalgia. Okay. So other symptoms can include tingling in the face or extremities, hands, arms, feet, or legs, abdominal pain or bloating. And I'm sure we all have, as women, have experienced bloating, alternating constipation and diarrhea, urinary urgency, and skin sensitivity, where how you just, if you touch yourself, it hurts. Now, pain often varies according to time of day, activity level, sleep patterns, stress, and weather. Weather is a big key that I hear people talk about is with arthritis and fibromyalgia. They talk about the weather. If the weather is cold, they are suffering, when it's cold. And so most people with this condition say that some degree of pain is always present, and often the aches and discomfort feel like a persistent flu. So my empathy goes out to people that are suffering, fibromyalgia. And then recent research has shown that individualized exercise at the appropriate intensity, low and moderate, is very important part of treatment for people with fibromyalgia. And if you have fibromyalgia, here are some points to remember. Now, here are some key points to remember with this. Is a specific combination of exercises can be as important part of your treatment program by helping you reduce muscle tension, decrease pain, and aid relaxation. This combination includes regularly participating in low intensity aerobic activity to improve conditioning and maintain good circulation. All great reasons to walk. There, that walk again, stick with it, 6 weeks, right? Carefully performing stretching exercise before and after your aerobic activity to reduce the likelihood of muscle or joint strains and to maintain good range of motion, which is, important. So if you are taking an aerobic class, your instructor should make sure that if they are a good instructor, and usually if they're certified, they know better, but a good instructor will do warm-up exercises prior to the class and then after the class as a warm down. You have to make sure that that's happening before and after, okay? And then carefully observing safety recommendations for exercise in general. And while they're doing the exercise and they see you do something incorrect, or they will, address it in a loving, kind, compassionate manner, not to embarrass you or put you down and make you feel dehumanized, but to address it. They'll come over and stand next to you and start doing it, showing you, and that's a good thing. Or if it's a class, they can talk about it while they're up there and say, look, let's take time to make sure we're doing these exercises correctly. And those are things that a good exercise aerobic will teach you, and they will encourage you. And again, they will uplift you, not make you feel down when you leave. Because when you're exercising, you're part of a group, you want to feel uplifted. You want to feel part of the group, the class you're in, and to feel good about coming back. Not a class that you have to feel embarrassed or you didn't get nothing out of. And anytime you exercise, you want to feel good. You want to feel better than you started. You know what I'm saying? Just like when you go to church, you want to feel better about church, leaving church, than when you first got there if you were feeling down. So there's things that it all align together, when it comes down to things that are being taught to us, or we are part of something. We want to feel good about that when we leave or walk away, right? And so carefully observing safety recommendations for exercise in general, especially if you're doing strengthening exercise, to avoid the possibility of minor injuries such as muscle pulls or joint strains. Now, start slowly. That's what I was saying. If you haven't been exercising, you want to start slowly. Be aware that fibromyalgia symptoms often get worse, not better, with vigorous exercise. So it is important that you always start slowly. Do only low to moderate intensity exercise and avoid fast movements or high impact. Now, you may not feel like exercising when you're tired or in pain, but remember that exercise is an important part of your treatment. And in chapter 4, for strategies to help manage pain and stay motivated. So when once we get done with 2, we'll do 3, and then we can get to chapter 4. But remember, there are some things in chapter 3 that we need to get to as well. So this is a good book that has some good information in it. Now, there are some other arthritis-related conditions. And before I get to that part, I want to share with you a Walk with Ease participant that said, some people think that people with arthritis are crippled and should not move. I really think that they should be informed that exercise is good for everyone, especially people with arthritis. Exactly. So just because you have arthritis doesn't mean you cannot move, doesn't mean you cannot stay connected to the exercise programs. And also, don't look at people as if they are poisonous because they have arthritis and sometimes they have flare-ups. And 1 week you might see them doing very well, and maybe months on down, you might see them and they'll go, what happened to you? Well, I'm just having a bad case of flare up, but I'll get through it. You want to uplift those people and encourage them, because it is a good form of exercise. So we don't want to put a stigma on people that have arthritis, because you could be one that's suffering from it now. And these are tips to help people get through it. Now, other conditions in the general family of arthritis and related rheumatic disorders include gout, ankylosing spondylitis, systemic lupus, erythematosus, lupus. And that's what the full word, but for short, it's called lupus, polymyalgia rheumatica, bursitis, as I talked about, bursitis, tendonitis, carpal tunnel syndrome, and scleroderma, okay? Raynaud's phenomenon and psoriatic arthritis, among many others. So for information about these or many other forms of arthritis, talk with your healthcare practitioner, or you can also contact the Arthritis Foundation. Okay, thank you so much, One Pal. And, it'll be up for you when, get a chance to listen to the rest of this. So thank you for coming in. I truly appreciate you. I hope that you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Now, the Arthritis Foundation has a series of books: Good Living with Osteoarthritis, Good Living with Rheumatoid Arthritis, and Good Living with Fibromyalgia, designed to help people with these conditions. Each book focuses on the specific disease, offering clear explanations of causes and symptoms, diagnostic tests, drugs and surgical therapies, alternative therapies. There are some alternative therapies, doesn't always have to be medication. And then self-management techniques, how to self-manage it yourself, including detailed stretching exercises. And we're going to learn more about these and other Arthritis Foundation books in Appendix C when we get to Appendix C. And that'll pretty much be at the end, because we really want to, get to this so we can get this together so that people can have the information they need that want to start to stick with it. Walk with Ease 6 weeks program. That way you can get started. You have plenty of time to get started, to pray about it. And if you make some mistakes along the way and you stop and give up and get back in it, you have time, to get yourself prepared and in shape, maybe even lose some weight, some inches, because, inches come before weights. A lot of time you'll lose inches before you start seeing some weight come off. So, before Thanksgiving and the Christmas, and that way you are already ahead of the game before people start making New Year's resolutions, okay? Now, exercise and arthritis. The value of exercise and physical activity, improving your general health, reducing risk, and fighting arthritis symptoms absolutely cannot be overstated. The benefits received from regular exercise have been documented by hundreds of studies. People who are physically active or healthier feel better and live longer than people who are inactive. Remember, we do not want to live a sedentary lifestyle. But regardless of all these general health benefits, many people still believe the myth that exercise is not good for people with arthritis. They are afraid that physical activity will damage their joints and make their arthritis worse. And it probably will make it better, as that one Walk with Ease participant stated. Now, what can exercise do for you? What can it do for you? Well, let's talk about some things, what it can do. Regular exercise like walking can help reduce anxiety. I mentioned that. Yesterday, I mentioned lower your blood pressure, blood triglycerides and glucose sugars. I mentioned body fat percentage, bone loss, constipation, depression. I mentioned falls and fractures, frailty and disability of older people, resting heart rate, risk of heart attack, social isolation, and stress, anxiety, social isolation. Because if you're out walking, you get to see things. You get to see cars go by. If you're on a main strip and you can walk and be safe on a sidewalk. And this is important too. Make sure that you have a sidewalk or a trail to walk on. People ride in bike lanes, but be careful about these bike lanes. If you choose to walk in a bike lane, that's kind of not safe. So a trail is a really, really good place to walk if you have trails by your home or sidewalks, your community, or if you're able to go to a park that's not far away that you could walk to the park or drive where you don't have to burn a lot of gas and be in a lot of traffic, to get there. It's ample parking, it's safe. And if you're doing it in the evening, make sure there's ample lighting. I always say try to take someone with you, but if you can't, make sure you have something on you. You know what that is. And then ample lighting. Make sure you have on some lighted clothes. Or if you're going to a dam or lake, up there, make sure that you go at a time where you can get back before dusk or, before dusk, before it gets dark. So just be safe out there while you're doing it. I encourage you to do that. Now, they want to tell you that thinking that you can't exercise is wrong. And I gave you what it can do for you, but this is wrong when people think they can't exercise with arthritis. Research study supports the fact that most people with arthritis can safely get all of the benefits of exercise without increasing damage or worsening symptoms. These studies show that for most people with arthritis, appropriate regular exercise leads to better flexibility, strength, and endurance, and to less pain, fatigue, and depression. Okay, and a lot of people do suffer from depression, and some people haven't been medically diagnosed and they may be suffering from depression. And you might not have to be medically diagnosed. If you start walking, the symptoms go away. Now, if they don't go away, you might need to consult with your practitioner to refer you to a counselor or therapist to get the help that you need if the symptoms get worse and they don't clear up. Because we all have felt some type of, sadness or depression, when we've gone through something like a loss or a divorce, or a loss of a spouse, children, or just traumatic situations, sexual assault, things like that. And even in this world right now, all the things that are going on in this world can lead you to, anxiety and depression, and even make you feel fearful because of what's happening in society. And that some people feel like they have lost control of their own life, or a job loss, or people have done you incorrectly or mistreated you on your job. There's a lot of reasons. And so it's good that you can find an outlet for yourself and self-manage some of your symptoms that don't require you to go to a licensed practitioner. But again, if you are suffering from that and this is not resolving, then that's when you would need to consult, a licensed practitioner. Now, what kinds of exercise and how much? Well, a regular exercise program should include 3 types of exercise. Flexibility, also known as stretching or range of motion. Remember, I was showing you all the, and range of motions and turning, and you want to stretch, your neck. And don't go fast because you don't want to pull something in your neck. Okay. And then strengthening, also known as resistance. Strengthening. And I have now I have a kettlebell. And it depends on, let me move my chair. Now, I have this kettlebell, and you can use a kettlebell, and this one is 10 pounds, but I also have a 5-pound kettlebell as well. So you can use it to do this, and and then there's the the kettlebell. You could do your exercise with that. Now, this is a 5-pound weight right here, right? 5-pound weight, right? And so you don't need anyone to tell you, well, 5 pounds is nothing. Well, if you haven't been exercising, 5 pounds is good to start off with, or maybe even 3 pounds. So just some, just some minor just something for strength training. If you can use weights, if you have weights at home, and then cardiovascular, which is also known as aerobic or endurance. Now, you might run in place, or if you're able to, you can jump rope, which I have another rope. I just bought me it was a while ago. I got a new rope because my one rope broke that I had. So I have a couple of ropes. So, I have a couple of ropes and things like that. But jumping rope, if you're able to jump rope, it's a good thing, jumping rope, jumping rope. And as you jump rope, you get better at it. That's a good exercise if you're able to do that, right? Now, flexibility exercise, being able to move your joints all the ways they can safely bend, that is through your whole range of motion, increases your flexibility, and losing range of motion can reduce your ability to do the basic everyday activities of living. For example, simple things like reaching up to kitchen cabinets or bending down to pick something up off the floor. Some people are not able to do that. It's hard for them to do that. Now, maintaining range of motion is therefore crucial for your quality of life. So flexibility exercises are the foundation of most therapeutic exercise programs for people with arthritis. Now, here are 5 important tips about flexibility exercises to keep joints mobile and to improve function. Flexibility exercise should be done gently and smoothly for 10 to 15 minutes a day, usually every day, and working up to 15 minutes a day. Okay. And then flexibility exercises also are important to do before and after recreational or fitness activities because stretched muscles and joints help you maintain balance, avoid falls, and prevent injuries. Now, you should do a few easy but important stretches before and after you walk. And that's what I was saying. Before you walk, do your stretches, and after you walk. Now, these are described more fully, and we're going to get to that, like I said, in chapter 5, because we got 3 and 4 to do, and then Appendix B, and we'll get to that in the end. But when you do 15 minutes of continuous flexibility movements daily, you will have the motion and endurance needed to include strengthening exercises and aerobic exercise into your program. Stick with it. 6 weeks. Now, if you've been inactive for some time or have pain or stiffness that interferes with daily activity, start your exercise program by building a routine of general flexibility exercise. For suggested exercises, talk with your healthcare practitioner. Now, another great source of exercise guidance for you, if you have arthritis and have not exercised in a while, is the Arthritis Foundation exercise program, which can be taken in a class format or at home using the Take Control with Exercise DVD or video. And you can visit www.arthritis.org. And that's, you can go, we'll talk about that in Appendix C. At the end of this book, there are some appendix in here that has very good information for us. Now, the strengthening exercises. Muscle strength is important for lessening the stress on your joints. Stronger muscles help absorb shock and protect your joints from injury. Stronger muscles also help you maintain the strength necessary to perform such everyday tasks as climbing stairs, gardening, or picking up bags of groceries. Even picking up bags of groceries can be hard for some people. And gardening is supposed to be very relaxing. If you have a garden or you want to plant a garden, that's supposed to be very relaxing. And like sometime when I out here in my yard, like I was saying, I can sit down and start pulling some weeds if they're all in a location. Because sometimes it just gets, hey, I'm like, hey, this is manual labor out here. Get tired after a while working in a yard like that. Okay, so these exercises use weight or resistance from some source, sometimes your own body, to make your muscles stronger. Now, strengthening exercise need only to be done 3 times a week and not on consecutive days, unless your healthcare practitioner advises otherwise. So you can do every other day. You can do every other day, for 3 times a week. Now, if your arthritis is not particularly limiting, you probably can do basic strengthening exercises safely by following recommended rules for proper techniques and safety. Especially remember to start slowly and avoid doing too much too soon. All right. Now, however, if you're older or if you have been very inactive or you have rheumatoid arthritis or another condition with limitations, it is important that your strength program be carefully designed for your specific needs. Knowing which muscles need to be strengthened and how to perform the exercise without stressing your joints are key elements in a successful program. Before you do strengthening exercise, it's a good idea to talk with your healthcare provider for appropriate recommendations. And again, we will be going to Appendix B. We are going to, once we get done with these chapters, I will be going to the Appendix B to give you information on that because it's very important. Now, let's talk about some cardiovascular exercises. And we are almost done. Thank God. Praise God. We are almost done. And I thank each and every one of you that's been able to tune in, whether you're in the bushes or came into the chat. And I know that people have a schedule and they have to get where they need to go. But I will be leaving the videos up because this is good information for anyone that wants to start a walking program or been inactive or want to lose weight, maintain weight, and just get some information that can help us maintain our temple that God has given us to dwell in. Okay. So, cardiovascular exercises. Oh, one other thing. Don't forget to share these videos because they're very important. And the people that don't come on my channel, don't know about my channel, these are good videos to share for people that are at home, maybe listening, at home and have time to listen, that may want to, get into an exercise program of walking. And again, it's called Stick With It. Stick With It. 6 weeks. Walk with ease. That's what it's called. Okay. So the purpose of cardiovascular exercise is to make your heart, lungs, blood vessels, and muscles work better. These exercises also help to improve your stamina, strengthen your bones, improve your sleep, control your weight, reduce stress, depression, and anxiety, relieve pain and stiffness, improve blood circulation throughout your body, and release a set of hormones called endorphins, which actually diminish the perception of pain. Now, contrary to what people think, our aerobic or cardiovascular exercise does not have to be really strenuous. Good news from recent research is that moderate physical activity produces the same health benefits as strenuous activities do, with far less risk of injury. Now, experts in exercise and arthritis have made specific recommendations for a minimum level of cardiovascular exercise. Accumulate at least 30 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity or exercise on at least 5 days a week for a total of 2.5 hours per week. Now, the best forms of aerobic or cardiovascular exercise for people with arthritis include walking, swimming, aquatic exercise, which is water exercise, cycling. Riding a bike is good. If you have a bike and you still know how to ride your bike, get your bike out. Low impact aerobic dancing and exercising on equipment such as treadmills. Now, I have a treadmill that I do use. I don't use it as much as I could because I like to run and walk outside, but I do have it and I will get on it. And I used to run on it a lot when I was actually, in school, because I worked full time and I was in school. So I used my treadmill. I would get up in the morning and run on it. And then in the evening, when it was late, I would run on my treadmill. So I found ways to get exercise in. You just have to make a sacrifice. And that is one of the things, is making a sacrifice and having a good attitude and mindset. And that's a good thing. Okay. Our ski machines or stationary bicycles. Now, everyday activities work too. Raking leaves. That's what I was doing, raking leaves, but I was actually raking tumbleweeds. Walking the dog, which my dog would go with me, but he's an older dog now. And he has a hard time getting out, running and walking with me now because he's older. And so he sits down a lot when we get out there. But still, if you have a dog that's not old, that's getting up in age, walking the dog, mowing the lawn. I mow the lawn. That's good exercise. Or going out dancing. A lot of people like to dance, or they'll dance at home with their spouse or dance by themselves. Uh, you know, those are examples, and then there's other things you might do. And then note that all of these involve continuous, repetitive movements of your large muscles. Jogging and running also are aerobic, but these produce more strain on the joints. And that's true when you're running. And I know that, just being an avid runner for years, is that it does produce more strain on the joints. Now, let me sit up straight because I was leaning, get my posture back, right? Now, try to accumulate at least 30 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity or exercise on at least 5 days a week. Now, but what is moderate intensity physical exercise? What is it? Well, at a moderate level, you should feel as if your body is working, but you should still be able to talk fairly normally and carry on at a comfortable pace. So you should be able to talk. If you're with someone, you're walking, you should still be able to talk. Okay. Now, getting at least 30 minutes of moderate activity on 3 or more days of the week may sound like a lot, especially in the beginning. But don't worry. The ideal is to do what you can do now and build gradually. And we're going to get to chapter 5 for more information about exercise intensity. Okay. Now, the walking plan and Walk with Ease is designed to help you build up to that recommended level of activity. However, even if you never are able to do all your 30 minutes at a time, don't worry, with an exclamation mark. Don't worry, because you can split up your 30 minutes to 15 minutes or 10 minutes or 15, or you can do the 30. But don't worry, okay? Recent research has also shown that 30 minutes of moderate physical activity accumulated in 3 10-minute bouts or over the course of the day has the same health benefits as one continuous 30-minute session. This book will help you build your program to the longest segments that are manageable for you. For example, to get your total of 30 minutes, you could rake leaves for 10 minutes. Now, I was doing that, raking leaves for out there, and it was longer than 10 minutes because I was actually raking tumbleweeds. And then I had to rake them up in a pile as I went. And then I was pulling them, the little ones that didn't come up with the rake. And I just purchased a new rake on Saturday, because my other one that I love so much, it started coming apart. And I was like, I need some glue to glue that rake back together, because I like that rake. And my newer rake is a little heavier, and I can tell the difference. Now, you can later take a 10-minute walk and then wash your car for 10 minutes. And my car needs to be washed, but I haven't got to it. I'm not even wanting to I don't feel like washing it, but I need to wash my car. And washing my car takes time. So they see what they said, even wash your car for 10 minutes. But I know that a lot of people now are taking their car to the car wash. And there's a lot of places, and it may be even in your state or city, that they are building a lot of car washes. That is like a big business booming now, is car washes. I mean, not just those car washes where you went, and sprayed, put the money in and sprayed it like that. And with the brush, they have different car washes now that are popping up all over the place. So that's a big booming business. Maybe I should have looked into owning one of those type of car washes, because it's money involved, obviously, because they're just alone, I think there's 1 or 2 in my city, and I've seen like at least 3 or 4 over the years that have been built in another city. I just see them popping up everywhere. So they're popular. Now, let's talk about the exercise of the do's and the don'ts. And we are almost done. And I am so excited that we are going to get through this book, because we need to get through it. If we can sit there and listen to some other crazy stuff and people beefing and all type of stuff, then we can listen to some good information that will help us while we're dwelling in the temple that God has given us. Okay. Now, here are some basic tips of what to do and not do as you walk with the Walk with Ease program. Stick with it 6 weeks. And I'm going to be saying that periodically throughout my channel here, with the when I'm doing these videos. Stick with it. Okay. For all you stick with it people, that the 6 weeks program, I want to hear how your progress will be going. I really would like to encourage people, and maybe at the end we can do a Zoom meeting or something for the ones that participated, and talk about it and what it was like for you, your experience, and what you have accomplished, and even set some goals for yourself. You want to set goals. What is the reason you're walking? Is it to lose weight? Is it to get in shape? Is it to maintain weight? Is it to get blood sugars under control? Bring down your blood pressure? Different things like that. Do you suffer from fibromyalgia or arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis or osteoarthritis? What is your goals? And it can't be about because your husband or partner told you need to lose weight. You don't know. You lose weight and do what you need for you. If you're doing it for someone else, you could become resentful. And I want to say that. So do it for you. Do it for you and be happy about doing it for you. And if you have some reservations, pray about it. Talk to your licensed practitioner, but just make sure that if you're doing it, do it for the best reason that it should be you doing it for you and not for others. And if you're doing it for others, that should come last, that you're doing it because you want to be healthy for your grandchildren and your children and for your loved ones, and that's a good thing. But you don't want people beating you down and putting you down to do it. That's not how it works. They should be lifting you up. Baby, I want to see you, be healthy, and I want us to grow old together. Those are encouraging words, not this, well, you don't look like you used to look when we got together, and that's why I be looking and flirting with. No, 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 no. I love you. And remember, you say, I love you, and we have to grow graceful together. And I may not look like what I used to look like, but I look good. And you have to tell yourself you look good. Look in the mirror, because I have a mirror here, and look in the mirror and say, I look good. I value me. I love me. And God loves me too. And we're going to stick with it, the 6-week Walk with Ease program. Okay, so do build a program that includes the 3 different kinds of exercise: flexibility, strengthening, and cardiovascular. Okay, and then do walk when you have the least pain and stiffness. Do walk when you're not tired, because when you walk when you're tired, it doesn't feel good. I've done it before, and I'm like, I walked, but did it help? So you want to make sure. I went running, so I have to change my mindset, because I'm going to run. I want to feel good about it. So if I'm too tired, I take a break, because we do need to give our bodies a break. Okay. We don't want to overexert and overuse our bodies, our muscles like that. And do walk when your medicine, if you're taking any, is having its greatest effect. So walk when your medicine is having its greatest effect. And do always include a warm up and a cool down, which we will discuss in chapter 5 whenever you walk. So that's why I want to get the chapters done, because this week we can get the chapters done. And if you're able to start walking now, that's fine. But once we get these chapters done this week, because I will be working on these chapters to get them done, and then that way we can get started. Like I said, we still have time, because today is the 4th of October, and we have time to get it in before Thanksgiving. Okay. And then you can keep your walk, keep it going. You might not do it as much, but you can keep it going. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. And it'll be up for you. Thank you very much. And have a beautiful day, and that all goes well with your conference call and everything like that. Thank you. Okay, so do start your own ability level. Move slowly and gently and progress gradually. Do avoid becoming chilled or overheated when walking. Do use heat, cold, and other strategies to minimize pain, which we will also discuss that in chapter 4. And then do use acids like walking sticks. Do use aids. I don't know where I got acids, but do use aids like walking sticks or canes if they help. So if they help, use those aids. And do expect that walking may cause some discomfort, and it may. When you first get back into walking, it may cause some discomfort. And then let's talk about the don'ts. Don't do too much too soon. Start slowly and gradually. Don't hold your breath when doing anything. Remember, keep breathing. Keep breathing. And then don't take extra medicine before walking to relieve or prevent joint or muscle pain unless prescribed by your healthcare provider. And then don't walk so fast or far that you have more pain 2 hours after you finish than before you started. There is the 2 hour pain rule. The 2 hour pain rule. The 2 hour pain rule, okay? Now we're almost done. We're almost done here. More questions about exercise safely, exercising safely. But we're almost done here. But one of the things is don't walk too far. Limit, put a limit on how far you're going to go so that you can get back. Because remember, you still got to come back. Once you start walking, you still have to come back. Okay? And now if you have additional questions related to exercise for your type of arthritis or a related condition, talk with your healthcare practitioner. Take this book along if you have the book, but I'm giving you the information. Discuss what you should do. And if you want to buy the book, the ISBN number, I can give it to you. But be sure to discuss the best level of intensity and length of your time for your walks. Also, talk about any changes you might need to make to accommodate any special needs you have. With adaptation is needed, most people with arthritis can develop a successful exercise program that includes walking. Now, remember, the evidence concerning exercise and arthritis is loud and clear. Your overall program should include 3 basic kinds of exercise that we just talked about: flexibility, strengthening, and cardiovascular exercises. You will not cause damage to yourself with appropriate exercises, and you can cause damage to yourself by not exercising, okay? So test your knowledge right here. This is this page right here, and we're going to go through this, and then we'll be done with this video. Test your knowledge. Circle yes or no for each of the following statements. Yes or no. I can name 3 basic facts about arthritis and exercise. Number 2, yes or no. I can explain what osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and fibromyalgia mean. And number 3, yes or no. I know the 3 main types of regular exercise that I should do and how often I should do them. Now, rate your confidence level on a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being not confident at all and 10 being totally confident. Circle the number that represents how confident you are about the following things. I feel confident that I can apply the general tips about exercise and arthritis to my walking program. And not confident at all starts at 0 all the way up to totally confident, number 10. I feel confident that I will not cause damage to myself with exercise. Not confident at all, 0 all the way up to totally confident, 10. And then I feel confident that I can walk and exercise at my own pace, building up to at least 30 minutes on 3 days or more per week. Not confident at all, 0 all the way up to totally confident, number 10. Now, the next steps, could you answer yes to the statements above, or is your confidence level 7 or more? If so, congratulations, you are ready to move on. Now, each of the statements refers to a section of the chapter we covered. So if you answered no to any of them, you may want to go back and review the chapter, those sections. And if your confidence is low, review the sections that you're not sure about, because you could not be sure about them and have reservations. And you can also share questions or concerns with your friends who have arthritis and walk, or with your healthcare licensed practitioner. And if you're in a Walk with Ease group program, we recommend that you share your questions or concerns with your group leader and fellow participants. And don't forget, we are striving for Stick With It, the 6-week program with Walk with Ease. So I will be back and I will be talking about chapter 3. And chapter 3 is preparing to walk with ease, because we have to get through these chapters this week. So whether you come into the chat or you tune in the bushes, however you do it, and you want to start the Stick With It 6-week program, this is some good information that can help you. And especially if you've been inactive, especially if you've been living a sedentary lifestyle, if you've been away from exercise and you want to get back in it, this book can truly help you. And my goal is to help you all. My goal is to help you. And because I'm out here doing it, I encourage you to do it if you're able to do it, but do it at your pace and do it the best way that you know how to do it, with what your limitations are. Talk with your provider about it, and what you can do. And always Do a stretch before and after. Warm up, and don't let anyone make you feel like you need to do something that you're not comfortable doing, that you're not ready to do, and that you have not worked up to that place to do. We are all a work in progress, and we are thankful for the temple that God has allowed us to dwell in, and we want to take care of God's temple. So God bless you all on today, and have a beautiful, beautiful day.